4 o'clock. So if we can, if monitoring officer is okay, and if Democratic are ready, we can just, lovely, thank you. Okay, Prynawn da, good afternoon. Welcome along to this Cabinet meeting on Wednesday, the 1st of December. Could I ask if, firstly, going into the agenda, we have any apologies for absence, please?
No apologies for absence have been received, Chair.
Okay, I've just had one noted to me, and that is one of our officers, Kerry Dinham. So if we can add that to the apologies list, she's unable to make this afternoon's Cabinet. Thank you. Colleagues, it is telling me I've got a bad network quality, so if I drop out, please let me know, okay? Okay, next on the agenda item is agenda item number 2. Any declarations of interest? No? Okay. In that case, then we'll move straight into the open session and strategic items. Agenda item number 3. That is the Capital Monitoring Report for 2021-2022, Quarter 2. And I understand that Councillor Andrew Barry is taking this report.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so it's the Capital Budget Monitoring Report 2021, Quarter 2. The report details a period April to 30th September this year, our second quarter capital report, and includes the projections of the end of year of both core and externally funded projects. We're reporting 42,000 overspend on our core funded projects, with our spend currently standing at 5.508 million, with amendments detailed in Appendix 1 at page 9 of your papers. Funded through the General Capital Fund, unsupported borrowing, capital receipts, revenue contributions and earmarked reserves. The amendments to the core budget are outlined in Appendix 3 with details of the overspend in Appendix 4. Notably, you'll see at the top of Appendix 3 on page 12, we are still to receive a formal letter offer letter in relation to the £4.664 million of the circa £8 million required following Storm Dennis as we move into 2022. So 2 years on now. We have 360,000 underspend on externally funded projects, details of which are found in Appendix 2 on page 10 of your papers. The reprofiling and adjustments are outlined in Appendix 5. Details of the schemes and rationale of the underspend is detailed at Appendix 6. The caveat to these figures being capital expenditure tends to be weighted towards the second half of the year. Total projected spend on both core and externally funded projects at year end is £33.580 million. The recommendations, Chair, are at 2.1 to 2.3. The Quarter 2 Capital Monitoring Report for 2021-22 be noted. The 2.2, the budget amendments for the core funded projects as outlined at 4.1 be approved, and a 2.3 variances to the budget as per paragraph 4.2 be approved. I move the second quarter capital monitoring report, Chair.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Councillor Barry. Do I have a seconder for that report, please?
Yeah, I'm happy to second that, Chair.
Thank you. Colleagues, are there any questions in relation to the report? No? Okay, any observations? No? Okay, therefore we'll move straight into the vote then, please. Would all those in favour of the report please raise their hand?
Yes, that's carried, Chair. I don't know if
okay, thank you.
I thought you may have frozen then, Chair, sorry.
I did. You did sound really funny, bless you. But yeah, I'm sort of in and out there. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to agenda item number 4. That is the Revenue Budget Monitoring Report 2021-2022. Again, Quarter 2. And again, I'll go to Councillor Andrew Barry, please.
Thank you, Chair. Revenue Budget Monitoring 2021 Quarter 2. As with the Capital Monitoring Report, we consider our projected revenue outturn at the end of Quarter 2 from April 1st to the 30th of September 2021, which stands at 812,000 as 812,000 as considered at Budget Board on the 17th of last month, and detailed here at Appendix 1. Budget variants are detailed at Appendix 2, page 23, followed by the major variances considered in Appendix 3. Section 5 outlines the various surpluses and transfers, focusing on future expected pressures. Ash dieback continues to be an issue with the expected overspend around 140,000. We continue to incur costs because of Welsh Government's policy on homelessness also. I'll go straight to the recommendations, Chair, at 2.1 to 2.4 in that. 2.1, the revenue budget monitoring report for 2021-22 financial year based on the second quarter predictions be accepted. 2.2, budget variants outlined in Appendix 2 be approved. 2.3, managers to urgently address projected budget deficits within the respective service areas, identifying all remedial measures to be offset the projected deficits be approved. And finally, 2.4, managers continue to monitor all revenue budgets and immediately notify the Chief Finance Officer of financial difficulties to be approved. I move the revenue monitoring second quarter recommendations, Chair.
Thank you ever so much, Councillor Barry. Do I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, colleagues, are there any questions in relation to the report? No? Okay. Any observations? No? Okay. Therefore, I'll move straight into the vote then, please. Would all those in favour please raise their hand on the screen?
And that's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, I move on to agenda item number 5. That is the proposed town centre public spaces protection order exclusion zone. And I understand that Councillor Kevin O'Neill has taken this report.
Yes, thank you, Chair. This particular report needs to be seen in the context of a town centre strategy to address antisocial behaviour, but also to support the ongoing regeneration and retail projects in the town centre. So this is one string of a multi-pronged approach. The proposed town centre public spaces protection order exclusion zone. The purpose of the report is to seek authority to consult on the proposal to introduce a public spaces protection order, which I will refer to now as a PSPO, to control alcohol and other intoxicating substances related to antisocial behaviour in Merthyr Tydfil town centre, by making the town centre an exclusion zone prohibiting people in public places from the taking of intoxicating substances, including alcohol. The recommendations follow the undertaking of a 12-week public consultation exercise and the proposal to make a public spaces protection order to control alcohol and other intoxicating substances related to antisocial behaviour in Merthyr Tydfil town centre by way of a defined exclusion zone to be approved. Point 2.2, the presentation to Cabinet of a further report detailing responses to the public consultation and any recommendations for amendments to the proposed PSPO for alcohol and intoxicating substances controls be approved. I so move.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. Do I have a seconder to that, please?
Happy to second that, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Colleagues, are there any questions in relation to that report? No? Okay. Are there any observations in relation to that report? Geraint?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think I welcome this report. We've been calling it now for a long time. Our business areas is growing day on day. There's new businesses coming into the town, and we need this, support them for them to grow. So yeah, really welcome it. So yeah, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Councillor Andrew Barry.
Thank you, Chair. As with Councillor Thomas, welcome this report. The problems we have in the town centre, as Councillor O'Neill has alluded to, are multifaceted. You tend to think of alcohol consumption as an evening activity, and the problems we have are related to some daytime activities. And I think if we want to aspire to what we need to be in Merthyr Tydfil, particularly with the onset of the A465 and the traffic it will bring in future years, I think this is an excellent report. It shows our determination to deal with the problems that we've got, and it shows our aspiration for Merthyr to be a regionally important town. Congratulate Councillor O'Neill on a great report.
If I may respond, Chair. Just some points that may be of help to everybody. This includes drugs, alcohol, and legal highs. So it's a wide range of substances. Also, again, go back to a conversation this morning about the powers of PCSOs. It does say a police officer or another authorised officer would be able to carry out enforcement action, and that's something we need to establish where that authorisation lies. Also, it can last for up to 3 years and can also be brought back before us again for an extension. So this is something that will capture that atmosphere in the town centre and hopefully bring it into far better control, along with our housing policies and along with our regeneration of retail policies. Thank you, Chair.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. Okay, colleagues, I'm going to move on to the vote now then, please. Would all those in favour of the report please raise their hand? Kev?
Right, okay, sorry. Did it have gone up there? Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 6, and that is the implications of Additional Learning Needs Education Tribunal Act 2018 for the local authority. Councillor Thomas, I believe you're going to take this report on my behalf.
I am, Chair. Yeah, the report outlines how the local authority is prepared to meet its statutory duties under the Additional Learning Needs and Education Tribunal Wales Act 2018. The report identifies the priorities for the local authority in its preparation for the implementation of the Act during 2021-2022 in the context of the Central South Consortium regional approach. It also outlines the cost pressures as a result of the ALNET. So straight to the recommendation in 2.1, Chair. The financial implications of this report are considered and be approved. I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Do I have a seconder to the report, please?
I second that report, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. Okay, are there any questions in relation to this report? No? Okay. Any observations in relation to the report? No? Okay, therefore I'll move straight to the vote then, please. Would all councillors in favour please raise their hand?
And that's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, I'll now move on to agenda item number 7. That is to receive the annual report for social services complaints, representations and compliments 2020 to 2021. I believe Councillor Tony Rogers, you're taking this report.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chairman. It's the annual report, social service complaints, representations and compliments 2020 to 2021. In the summary of the report, local authorities are required by the Social Services Complaints Procedure and Wales regulations to produce an annual report about the operation of their social services complaints, representation and compliments, policy and procedures. This report highlights the key points contained in the annual social services complaints, representation and compliments photocopy, which is attached to Appendix X. Introduction and background. Social services provide support to the most vulnerable people in our community, often in very difficult situations, and deliver effective services that make a real difference to people's lives. Sometimes, however, a variety of reasons, people will make a complaint about the service they have received. At 3.3, you see the annual social services complaints, representation and compliments report for 2021 set out the department's performance in relation to how it is dealt with, the complaints, representation and compliments. The report details the number of complaints that were received and dealt with at all the available stages of the policy across both children and adult services. The annual report to 219/20 showed that we received a total of 108 complaints. Where are we now? That's the annual report for 2021. Shows in total we received 99 complaints. This is summarised in the table below. Every effort is made to resolve matters at a local level with the emphasis on achieving successful resolutions or complaints. At stage 1, the local authority usually offers to discuss either face-to-face or by telephone the matter with the complainant within 10 working days to attempt to resolve matters. This approach allows the quick and successful resolution of most complaints. Complaints received or progressed to stage 2 are normally more complex in nature and often contain several components of dissatisfaction and need to be independently investigated. Our emphasis at all stages is focused on achieving satisfactory resolution to matters. Communication issues including failure to respond from within appropriate timescales, and also you see at 7.0 to 7.6 what the service has to do next to maintain and make improvements, and at 2.0 to 2.1 is the recommendation, and the recommendation is the annual social services complaints by a representative and compliments report be approved. Madam Chairman, I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. And do I have a seconder for that report, please?
I second that, Chair, and in doing so, just recognise that where complaints may seem negative, they're probably the steepest learning curve we will be on. And as we know, social services over the last 18 months has improved massively in its performance. I think it's reports such as these that help social services in the trajectory they find themselves on. I'd like to compliment Councillor Rogers on his report. Very, very good. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor Barry. Colleagues, are there any questions in relation to the report? No. Are there any observations in relation to the report? No. Okay, therefore we'll move straight to the vote then, please. All those councillors in favour, please raise your hand.
And that's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, we move on to agenda item number 8. That is the Cwmtaf Morgannwg Carers Annual Report 2020-2021. And Councillor Rogers, I believe I'm coming back to you.
That's it, Madam Chairman. Cwmtaf Morgannwg Carers Annual Report 2021. Summary of the report. Prior to the implementation of the Social Services and Wellbeing in the University at SSNW Act 214, were given a lead role under the Welsh Government's carers measure to work with partners, including local authorities, third sector, and importantly, carers themselves. We were required to submit an annual report to Welsh Government to provide an overview of the activities undertaken as part of the implementation of the carers measure. Although the carers measure has been appealed, the requirement of an annual report has been continued since 2016-17 to the present day. An introduction as part of the regional work programme of the Cwmtaf Social Services and Wellbeing Partnership Board, a new Cwmtaf Carers strategy was developed in 2016 to replace the separate plans of partner organisation. I can turn the page. Working with partners across Merthyr Tydfil, Rhondda Cynon Taf, and including carers themselves, the Cwmtaf Carer strategy covers carers of all ages. The strategy is currently under review and now includes Bridgend as part of a regional working. The Cwmtaf Morgannwg steering group met within 2019 to create an updated version of the carer strategy that was put on hold and yet to be completed due to the impact of COVID-19 and government guidance. You see the aims of the Cwmtaf strategy at 3.3 to 3.6. and at progress of the carers plan. Throughout 2021, Cwmtaf Morgannwg, Merthyr Tydfil, County Borough Council, Rhondda Cynon Taf, County Borough Council, and Bridgend County were built upon the success of the previous year and continue to work collaboratively together with other third sector partners, improving recognition of carers and providing appropriate information and support. The annual report provides an opportunity to reflect on the progress we have made to date and looks ahead to the challenge of 2021-22. And at 4.2 to 4.5, you see the key areas of work that have been included. And that financial implications, there are none. And I'll go to the 2.0 to 2.1, you see the recommendation, and the recommendation is the contents of the report be noted and the annual report, which is attached as Appendix 1, be approved. Madam Chairman, I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Do I have a seconder to that report, please? Councillor Hughes?
Yeah, I'd like to second that. I don't know who seconded it, but I would like to second it anyhow. And in doing so, I'd like to thank the officers in the carers position and our own carers officers on the great work they do for the carers and Mercer. To be honest with you, they're the unsung carers. It would cost the country over £6 billion if we didn't have unpaid carers. So I think a big shout out to the unpaid carers need to be done, and great thanks, because this country wouldn't be in the position it is if we didn't have people like that caring for the elderly and other people. So I like to thank everybody, and agree with Councillor Thomas's clap there. I like to give him a clap myself. So thank you very much.
And I will.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. And I think we all echo what you and Councillor Rogers have said, you know, absolutely support and, you know, thank our carers for all that they do. So thank you for that, Councillor Hughes. Colleagues, it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions in relation to the report? No? Okay. Are there any observations in relation to the report? Councillor Geraint-Thomas.
Yeah, just to add my thanks really to the unsung heroes of the pandemic. You know, it's been a difficult time for them, you know, because really they've been on their own out there, you know, looking after very vulnerable people at times. So yeah, you know, and it's the mental health, everything has been challenged over the last few years, and I just feel, you know, the more support we can give them coming out of the pandemic, the better. So yeah, welcome this report, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Councillor Andrew Barry.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo what the other councillors have said, and you know, we're moving to a period now where we're about to have the care and health and care levy, which I think will go mostly to the NHS in the first 3 years. But I think a move to recognise the work, as Councillor Hughes has pointed out, of these unsung heroes is long overdue. And you know, the sooner that money prevails and the recognition is given to these people, the sooner the better. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Barry. Colleagues, I can't see that anybody else wants to talk, so we'll move to the vote then, please. Would all those councillors in favour of the report please raise your hand?
And that's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Colleagues, we move on to portfolio items, and that's agenda item number 9. That is to discuss the Active Travel Fund 2021-2022. And Councillor Geraint-Thomas, I believe you're taking this report.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Some real good news, really, that we found, well, Welsh Government have found some extra money for us, so we can complete some very important works before the end of this financial year. So, in the summary, Chair, in May 2018, the Cabinet Secretary for Finance announced significant funding being made available over 3 years to support active travel schemes as part of the Wales Infrastructure Investment Plan. The funding will create new active travel routes across Wales, connecting people's homes to schools, jobs and the local community, with the aim of encouraging more people to walk or cycle. The report gives an update on the funding bids that have been submitted for active travel funds for 2021 and 2022. The report also gives an update on the active travel network map consultation. Before I go to the recommendation, Chair, if I can just allude to the schemes that we've had the money for. It's for Court Street in Cadraw, £247,000. And the scheme is to create and improve crossing points for pedestrians in the vicinity of Tesco's roundabout. And we all know how busy that area is, and the fountain shop. The Avenue de Clichy, 215,000 to widen the footpath to have extra space for cyclists and pedestrians. And also Bethesda Street, £239,000. For this scheme will increase the footpath width on the northern side of the road from the junction with Cyfarthfa Road to the Red Spice. There will also be junctions realigned and realigning the Toucan crossing. So, Chair, if I can go back to the recommendation in 2.1, that the content of the report be noted. I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Do I have a seconder to that report, please? Councillor O'Neill, you're on mute.
Yes, I'd like to second that report, and I hope I'm allowed to make some comments later in relation to our involvement as Town Board councillors. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions in relation to the report? No? Okay, any observations in relation to the report? Councillor O'Neill?
Yeah, once again, I'm delighted to see this come through, and there are some other unsung heroes. Alan Evans has made a massive impact, I believe, in the work that's been going on around these issues. Beth Jones and Anushka Beaumont as well working with him, but he's really provided some key knowledge, experience, and leadership. As you see, the three areas are on. Two are on the Town Ward and one are on the Cabartha Ward, I think Bethesda Street. But we've walked that area, and another unsung hero, and I would say this, is John Thomas, along with my cabinet colleague Andrew Barry, who've all been down there with us, walking the route and looking how we make these alterations. They may seem quite discreet, and sometimes they may be considered as minor, but certainly those areas are dangerous areas and need those safety considerations. Also, they do link in with our trails, the Taft Trail and the Trevethick Trail. And also, there's an element there that we may have been not so friendly to many years ago about active travel and the use of pedal cycles, etc. I was quite surprised how well these are used when we went there looking at it with my fellow colleagues. So absolutely delighted, and well done to all involved.
Okay, thank you, Councillor O'Neill. Councillor Andrew Barry.
Yes, thank you, Chair. As basically Councillor O'Neill has said, the three of us have walked those areas extensively. The issues that we're talking about may seem very minor, as Kevin has said, but to put a zebra crossing in front of the fountain shop or Jen Chang's there, we just assume that, you know, after all the traffic goes there, you take your life in your hands, you stand in the middle of the road as juggernauts are going past. It's a bit of a no-brainer that we're doing it, to be honest, and it is a vital piece of engineering that we need done. As with the other engineering we've done in the area, it makes the area a lot safer, not least the area around Tesco, in terms of that slippery slope, literally that slippery slope leading to a main arterial route. Some of the areas are for the third year of asking. We've continually knocked on the door to make these areas safer, where you've got the amounts of traffic are just unbelievable. When we reversed the high street because of it was one of Europe's worst polluted roads on the Toyn Hill. The figures that were coming back were quite outstanding. You know, we're talking about 20,000 cars going through that Tesco roundabout. Similar amounts now. It's just they're not stopping on the Toyn Hill, but we're making it a lot safer. It's long overdue, much welcomed. I thank Councillor Thomas for bringing the report.
Thank you, Councillor Barry. Councillor Geraint-Thomas, then, in conclusion, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just to say, you know, I think we've all noticed, you know, over the last couple of years, through the pandemic, more people walking, more people cycling. We've got to be, you know, aware of the climate challenges that we have going forward, and we have to encourage our residents to walk and cycle more. And if we can do it safely, more people will do it. So we really very welcome this extra funding. And I'd like to thank the officers, like Councillor O'Neill said. They've brought a real spark to this authority. And I just hope now we can get some more funding going forward to make other areas around the borough safe places to walk and cycle to. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas, for that, and for everybody else's comments. Much appreciated, I'm sure. Okay, colleagues, we'll move straight into the vote now then, please. Would all those councillors in favour please raise your hand? Councillor Geraint-Thomas, it's your report. Thank you.
That's it, carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, colleagues, we move on to agenda item number 10, various roads in Merthyr Tydfil, to discuss proposed traffic regulation orders. And I understand, Councillor David Hughes, you're taking this report.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I was hoping that the comments were a bit shorter than the last one because the light is getting dark and I can't see the report all that good. But I got a torch on my camera, so we'll be all right. Yeah, the summary report can be found 1.1 to 1.3. The summary reads as for councillors to authorise the intention that the subject to satisfactory consultation with the represented list of road users, including the police, fire, ambulance services, bus operators, etc., a public notice be given informing the County Borough Council's proposal to make permanent traffic regulation orders under the Road Traffic Regulation Act of 1984, and in the event no objections, the orders should be made. The number of traffic orders have been identified as requiring amendments, and also requests received for the introduction of traffic regulation orders at various locations throughout the County Borough for the traffic management and road safety reasons. These are as followed. The A45454 Avenue de Clichy and Castle Street, a proposed modification to the traffic regulation order relating to the bus lane. Swan Street and Masonic Street, a proposed extension to 20 miles an hour zone traffic regulation order. And the next then is Avon Close and Carlton Terrace junction in Trodderew, proposed prohibition of waiting anytime traffic regulation order. And then we go to Diane Street and Diane Street and Cumdee Road, Trodderew, a proposed prohibition waiting at any time traffic regulation order, and Evans Street and Pritchard Street junction with Forest Road in Trearis, a proposed prohibition of waiting at any time traffic regulation order. From 2.0 to 2.6, we got the proposals, but then I go to the recommendations, which are found in number 3. The recommendations are subject to the consultation with the representative list of road users, public notice be given to the County Borough Council's intention to make a permanent traffic regulation order under the Road Traffic Regulation Act of 1984, the effect of which it will be detailed in the schedule at Appendix B be approved. In the event that no objection be received, the making and said permanent order be approved. If objections are received, the report is presented to the appropriate committee for consideration as soon as practically approved. I therefore move.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Do I have a seconder to that report, please?
Happy to second that, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Okay, are there any questions in relation to that report, please? No? Okay. I'm concerned now about Councillor Hughes's light. I can see it fading. Oh, he's gone. He'll be back, I'm sure. Okay, are there any observations in relation to that report? No? Okay, therefore we shall swiftly move on to the vote then. Would all councillors in favour please raise their hand?
That's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Colleagues, at agenda item number 11, we are to discuss any other business deemed urgent by myself. I have none. Therefore, we'll move into exempt items then of the report. Could I ask for one of my colleagues to call a section 100, please? To move to section 100. Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that, Chair.
Okay, all those in favour of a section 100, please raise your hand.
And that's confirmed, Chair.
Okay, we'll just allow a couple of minutes to make sure that